Hello everyone, welcome to the Next Gen Data Aspirant community. This is a second episode of Aggregation DAX function series. We have already covered average functions. If you would like to explore those details, you can find the link in the description box. Today I am going to present count functions which are count, count A, count X. Let's move on to the official documentation, what it says. Yeah. Count function. How it works. Count function counts the number of rows in a specific column that contain non-blank values, which means it counts the number of rows which is having a data. So it doesn't count a blank values. Literally, it will skip the blank values. So is there any key important notes? The count function will support these data types which are number, dates, string. It will allow only these data types only to count the columns. And if the function finds any no row count, it returns a blank value. It doesn't allow the boolean data type values. If you would like to count the boolean data type values, then you have to use count a, which we will cover after this function. So let's move on the hands-on part. This is my data which are already used for the average functions. So I'm creating a new measure to count the product ID count of. So the count function will allow only one single attribute, which is a column name. So I'm providing a column name, the product ID. Okay. I'm committing the DAX function. So it doesn't return any error. I'm taking a card chart. Let's see what is the count of the product ID. So it brings 5 as a count. So 1 2 3 4 5, like all the product ID column has a 5 rows of data, so it's correct. And I am taking the date data type column to count to count of. So I'm checking date column whether it is how whether it is working or not. So there is no error, and again I'm dragging this measure to the card chart. It brings count as a 4. So already I told you, right, the facial documentation said it will count the number of values which is having a data. So there is one row doesn't have any data, so that's why it brings a 4. And now I'm go move on to the product name column. So column name, product name. So I'm dragging the same measure to the card chart. So surprisingly it brings count as a 5 because the product name column have 4 rows of data. The one column, third row doesn't have any data. So there is one thing doesn't mention in the official documentation. If the if the column has a text data type, it won't skip the blank values. It won't skip the blank values. That's why it bring the 5 as a count. And let's see, the count function will work on a boolean data type column. As already they mentioned, it won't work, but let's see, is it working or not? Count 4 equal to count up school boolean type of column. And so I committed the function. It doesn't give any error, but let's see, is it working or not? So for this, I am taking a new card chart, count 4 function. So yeah, it's providing throwing an error. Let's see the details. The function count cannot work with values type of boolean, right? So as per the official documentation also mention this thing. So okay, so I'm going to change this to count here. So before that, I wanted to check the official documentation. The count here function also works same as count. but additionally it will allow the boolean data type columns. Additionally it will allow the boolean data type columns. Let's see the hands-on part. So instead of I'm putting count on a boolean type of column, I'm putting a count a, committing the DAX function. Now it brings 4. Okay, I'm dragging the same measure to the first card chart. So 4. So there are 4 rows has a data, and the fourth one doesn't have any values. So that's why it brings 4 as a count. And is this work on the text data type and the date data type or number data type? Let's check. So count 5 equal to count a product ID. So, and I'm dragging the measure to the card visual. Yes, it is working. The product ID of count is 5 and the count is also 5. And now I'm creating a measure on date column, date, right? Okay. Now I'm committing this function as well, and I'm dragging the measure to the card visual. It's 4. The count of date column is 4 for count function, and the count a function is also 4. This is correct. And now check for the product name. Like, is it skipping the blank row or not skipping? Uh, count 6, count 7 equal to count a school day product name. I'm committing this measure and I'm dragging into the card chart. So it brings 5 as a count for the product name column. So already mentioned for the count function, right? If the column data type has a text, so then it won't skip the blank values. The blank value also count. So that's why it brings the 5 as a count for product name. Okay, so then what is the difference between count A and count X? Like, why they are introducing count X? Like, we know, right? So the count A additionally has a can able to handle the Boolean data type columns, and so it's fair, right, between the count and count A. So what is the why they are introducing count X? Let's see. Count X. So it counts the number of rows that contain non-blank values over a table. Like earlier already I mentioned in the average function, right? Whenever you see x, like, which means it is a iterator function, it counts the number of rows that contain a non-blank values over expression over a table by row, which is also works as count function. It doesn't allow boolean data type, right? So let's see the hands-on part. I'm taking count function, count 8 equal to count x of, as per syntax we have to provide table name first and the column name. School data. Okay, then I'm go with the product ID column. Product ID. Okay. Okay, so sorry, the count of product ID is 5. So, like, already I said, right, it will work each row by row. I'm just dragging to the visual how it works. So, right, it is working each row by row. That's why, like, it counts product at the first row as a one, and the second row as a data, then again one, and the third row has a data, and again one, and the fourth row has a data, and again one, and the fifth row has a data, and again one. So the overall all 5 rows has a count as a five, right? So that's why it's giving you five as a count. And let's see, is it working on any filter type of condition? So I wanted to calculate specific product name count. Let's see, count X of. So as per syntax, first we need to provide a table name, right? So my requirement is to filter a specific product count. So for that I am adding a filter table, say school data, and my filter expression is school data product name. I'm going to apply a filter on the product name column equal to academic book. Okay, the table is completed. Then I wanted to check the product ID count. School data of product ID. Okay, so I'm going to commit this function. Let's see, is it giving an error or it's allowing me? Okay, it doesn't give any error. And just I'm dragging into the card chart. Let's see how it is works. Okay, it gives 2 as a count. So in the product column, academic book is already 1, and there is another there is another academic book, right? So the row count of academic book is 2. So yeah, okay, fine. How it is working row by row? Let's see at table level. So I'm dragging the same measure into the table visual. Yeah, so as I mentioned, right, it will work each row by row. So earlier it brings all the rows, right? We didn't apply any filter condition in the count and measure. We applied a filter condition. So and it is working each row by row. That's why it first it will go the first row, and the product name is whether it's academic book or not, right? It is academic book. Then it returns a one, and then again it went to the second row, and again it is checking for the academic book, but the second row has a blackboard, so that's why it doesn't bring any value. The same thing applied on the last row as well. So this is how the academic the sorry count x function works. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe next gen data aspirant community social handles.